knew that the year 2020 was going to be a big year for these voting rights anniversaries. It would mark the 150th anniversary of the first time Utah women voted, the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which extended voting rights to many women across the country, and the 55th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, which broke down many more barriers facing women and men of color when they were trying to vote. So as a nonprofit, we approached the state of Utah and talked about putting up a memorial to honor those anniversaries in this important year, and especially to honor the role of Utahns in kind of pioneering ways in breaking ground for the expansion of voting rights. This new monument is called A Path Forward, and it's a beautiful sculpture. It's got concrete and bronze and stainless steel in it, and it looks a little different than normal monuments or the way that we're used to a statue of one figure. This monument is a series of door frames. There's an interior space, a domestic space with a table and chairs, and a path that winds through door frames leading towards the state capitol. So this monument is meant to represent Utah women's work for voting rights. The artists, Kelsey Harrison and Jason Manley, had a beautiful vision for what this would look like, and they knew that they wanted to have additional door frames leading from the 19th Amendment forward, talking about legislation that expanded voting rights for different groups of people. And so we worked with them to research and talked with local community members, for example, the Division of Indian Affairs here in Utah, so that we could make sure that we were characterizing that history accurately. So you'll see as you visit the memorial that there's inscriptions on the insides of those door frames talking about the laws that they represent and this widening of the path, this symbolic way to open up the pathway for more people to participate in the political process.
Beauty and the brilliance, I think, of A Path Forward, this memorial, is that it's a way to honor this long, complicated history of voting rights here in Utah and in the nation. And it's not a statue of just one person or even a small group of people. It's more of a visual representation and a commemoration of the work of thousands, even millions of Utah women over the course of over 100 years. And so rather than being just one specific moment in time or one specific person in time, this memorial really, I think everyone can find a piece of themselves in the memorial. There's the story of everyone in this piece of art.
After the monument was unveiled, my favorite part was that we had family members there representing the women whose work makes up different pieces of the memorial. So Sarah Young, the first voter, whose footsteps start off on that path, or Elizabeth Hayward, a state senator in Utah who introduced the bill to ratify the 19th Amendment when she was serving in our legislature, or the family of Alice Kasai, who worked to expand voting rights and make citizenship available to Japanese American immigrants, and the family of Mignon Barker Richmond, a civil rights leader and activist here in Utah. So as we heard a little bit from our narrator of our program about what each of these women had done, their families walked along that path carrying photos of these women, large photos in frames. That was really touching to me because I could see how the legacy of these women's work has played out in future generations. We could see daughters and granddaughters and great-grandsons of these women whose work we were memorializing, who were proud of their ancestors' contributions to Utah and who are making Utah a better place in their own ways today. So that was very touching and meaningful to me, to see that contribution embodied in the future, in the generations that have come. So every time that I pass the memorial now and walk through the door frames, I think about those specific families at those different points.
My favorite part is the ever-expanding doorways and the ever-expanding pathway that's part of the memorial. As I walk along that path, recognize that the doorways of opportunities that are open for me are not always open for everyone. And maybe it's open for people who look or live like me or live where I live, but someone else who really does have the same innate value and right to experience those opportunities, but because of restrictions or cultural norms or popular opinions, they're not able to walk through that doorway of opportunity with me. And so that, again, puts it on me in my community, in whatever way I am going to make a contribution, to make sure that I am looking around myself as I walk forward and say, who is not able to come through this doorway of opportunity, and how can I work to make it so that the doorway is bigger or the path is wider so that more people can come.
I think one of the things that's really important about the way we look back at voting rights now is that sometimes we think one victory was all that it took. And once the 19th Amendment was ratified, for example, that everyone was able to vote. And that's not true, because there were so many different barriers in different places for people's voting rights. So I love that the artists were willing to work with us as historians and with community leaders in Utah to make sure that we could represent that story, that we could talk about everybody's struggle in an appropriate way, and also in a way that helps us understand that there's a lot of work to be done. There are a lot of ways that our history and our past have created structural barriers for participation in the political process. And as we become aware of those and work to eliminate those, we'll have a better society when we open up decision-making in government to more people in our country.